Welcome back to Eye on the Illini. This is Mike Cagley. This is one of the special treats. One of the great things about covering the Fighting Illini is you get to meet and become friends with people like David Williams. And David, of course, for folks who don't remember Illinois and used to be quarterback you, and you guys moved the ball up and down the field, All-American, College Hall of Famer, long professional career. David, welcome back to the show. How are things going for you so far this year?
So far, so good. Everybody's healthy. The kids are healthy. We got the work is healthy. We're not locked down with COVID anymore. Life is getting better.
It's hard to complain, isn't it? Now, one of the things
Right.
we try to have David on every year. He has the David Williams Foundation. I'm going to let him explain that. But the real important thing is because of the way the opening weekend of football is now going to be on Thursday this year, he has moved his annual fundraising golf tournament to June 8th. And that is a little bit earlier in the year. We wanted to make sure that Illini fans knew about that and would be able to go and get involved, get a chance to meet some people. And so the best thing to do, David, is maybe explain a little bit about the David Williams Foundation, what you do, and then the purpose of this golf tournament and who benefits.
We put this foundation together to raise money for a few different charities. One charity is the Tom Jones Challenge, and that is for disabled kids and handicapped kids that we put on. We raise money and put on a sports clinic for those kids where they can play sports like baseball. They have an announcer, and they have the kids come up and they announce the kids like when we play. The catch by David Williams, they'll announce the guy, Brady Jordan is that bad. And then you hear the crowd go wild and all the kids will get to play. Everybody needs some joy in their life, and that's one of the charities that we donate to. The another one is the Dash Foundation, which is by the Olympic gold medalist Bonnie Blair. Her and her husband have. We raise money for them to buy sporting equipment and to help those kids out with who can't afford the. I don't know. I've never been a skater, but I'm pretty sure that the skates aren't cheap for underprivileged kids or kids who can't afford the equipment, but they have the desire and the drive to do that sport or see if they're good at something like that. We're raising money for them as well. But it's a great charity. We got great guys, Ryan, Tom, Cam, Debbie, Larry. My board are pretty awesome. And we're just try to do everything we can to raise money for these kids.
Yeah, and I know a big thanks out to Midland States Bank who are helping sponsor this. You also have sponsors of 217 Mortgage, Roll Law, Libman Company, Gray and Associates, Guerrero Law, and as you mentioned, Rhinos, Fine Sports Collectibles, Stan Sports World, and Jimmy John's and 300 Sports. You've got Bruce and Debbie Babcock. So there's a ton of people who are sponsoring things along with Justin and Ashley Deantley, Pias and Cams, JHS Community, Fourth Quarter Athletics, and even Monocle's Pizza out in Tuscola. There are a ton of people in the community who've come together and try to help set up this event. Now, if people wanted to golf, can you tell them a little bit about what the experience is and the kind of fun that they might have if they came out and knocked the ball around on the course?
Yeah, it's a great day. We try to have as much fun as possible. It's for the charity, so we try to make sure we have fun. You'll have one of the former players or a guest play with every group. So you got a foursome, and then you got somebody like me to play with that group, or Jack Trudeau, or Keith Jones, or Keith Taylor, or Keith Byers from Ohio State, or Art Steele from Penn State, or David Fulcher from Arizona State. Some of our legends, Johnny Johnson, Kenny Battle was out there before. The great D Brown has been a part of it all 3 years. So we have some awesome players. Some of my former Rose Bowl teammates are coming back. Cam, Darren Brown, Cam Benson, some guys that we have a history with of being champions, and they want to be a part of this and see if we can help this grow to help these children out. We've been blessed in our lives, and we just trying to give back. Now you can sign up as a foursome. You can sign up as an individual. We'll put you with a group. Go on the David Williams Foundation .org, or I'll give you my Hall of Fame email, HOF2005 @yahoo.com. That's HOF2005 @yahoo.com. That stands for Hall of Fame 2005, which I represent the University of Illinois in the College Football Hall of Fame. That's when I went in. So that's why I use that email. So you can sign up. You have a great time. We'll provide lunch. There'll be an auction. Unfortunately, my good friend Dick Buckus, the last 2 years, he would sign a bunch of stuff for us to auction off. And I have a heavy heart this year because always we would sit up and talk about the foundation, and he would always be more than happy to sign stuff for us. And he'd ask me how it went and stuff like that. We won't have.
Yeah, what a great thing. Of course, now this is going to be at the U of I Orange Courses in Savoy. And again, it's on June 8th. So we wanted to put this podcast out there so that people had a chance here at the end, because these spots at the end, they start going like wildfire. So if you've got a group of buddies,
yes,
and you're looking at June 8th and you're thinking, you know what, this would be a lot of fun to spend some time doing this, and you get a chance to meet an Illini legend, that is always a fantastic time. And 9 a.m. is when people can register. You can grab your mulligans, get into the raffle, get your drink tickets. You get a shirt, a hat, and a goodie bag, and lunch by Jimmy John's. So that you don't get any better than that out on a golf course. And then afterwards, there's a celebrity autograph session, and then the silent auction, cocktail reception, some snacks, and then you give awards, because I'm assuming you can get awards for being really good, and maybe there are going to be a few awards for people who aren't so good. And then as a former golfer before I got a back injury, I was a recipient to a lot of those awards for bad shots, and then a live auction at the very end. And all these proceeds are going to help out these great charities. So that is just fantastic. I know it's a lot of fun. I listen to people talk all the time about their experiences there at the golf tournament. People love it. So we would like to, again, go to David Williams Foundation. That's all one word, .org. And you can sign up, and it's a very easy process. And if you have any other issues, you can go to HOF 2005 @yahoo.com if you run into any questions or issues. And of course, again, some fantastic sponsors that you'll see listed there. And if you want to go shop in the community, if you want to go shop with people who are putting their effort and energy and dollars behind a good cause like this, you can certainly feel good about any dollars you spend with these businesses, which is just fantastic that they're willing to do that. As we move on, there's a couple things I wanted to get your opinion on, because college sports is going crazy with the name, image, and likeness, and there's going to be some sort of settlement here in the next few weeks in Washington. And what do you think, as a guy who was an All-American, as a guy who I shudder to think how many teams would have been calling you behind the scenes trying to get you to transfer if there had been such a thing. But what do you think about this? Kids can transfer and be immediately eligible, and then they could do it the next year, and it seems like it's unlimited. How do you, as a former athlete who lived through all this, how do you look at that?
I hate it personally. I think it takes the competition out of growing players. I'll say this, my first year at Illinois, I sat behind Mike Martin, Oliver Williams, Kirby Wilson, and I got hurt. So as I was injured, I watched and I learned and I saw how hard they worked and things like that. And you knew, and you had to figure out, this is what I need to do to be as good as these guys or compete with these guys to play at this level. If I came along right now and that happened to me, you would have never heard of me, because they would have transferred in a bunch of guys, and I would have never got the chance to be on the field, because they would have just transferred all these kids in that was just okay, and you never would have got the chance to see me grow and flourish and the player I was. Now, to me, if a coach got another job or got fired and he left, then I think a kid should be able to leave and move because the person who brought him there is gone. But the way these kids are jumping around at the portal now, you can be eligible and play 3 different years on 3 different teams. So now is whoever has the most money can just buy the guy or buy the kid. So now instead of falling in love with a university and sticking it out and having a loyalty to your classmates, your teammates, and your university, it's all gone. It's all gone. So I hate it. I think it's ruining college sports, but it's just me. Maybe that's just me. But how do you have a quarterback play at this school, then he's at that school, then he's at this school? If he was any good, he wouldn't have left the first school.
Yeah. Well, the funny
So
thing, don't you think the NCAA could have avoided all this if they would have just put that rule in that you're talking about, that when the coach leaves, a player can transfer, and then maybe that number 1 jersey that sold in the 80s, maybe you should have got $5 every time one of them sold. And maybe they should have allowed you at that time, if Papa Del's wanted to do an ad with David Williams, maybe you should have been able to cash in on just small things like that. And I don't think it would have ever come to this craziness that we're at right now.
I agree. I agree. Now imagine this: 1984 is probably March. We just lost the Rose Bowl a few months earlier.
Yep.
It's around lunchtime, and about 4 of us are on campus. Our coaches are sitting at McDonald's eating lunch. We just left class, so we missed lunch, or it was too far away to get back to our dorm to eat. We just made $5 million to put our school in a Rose Bowl, and we're hungry, and our coaches can't buy us lunch. That made no sense.
Yeah.
No sense. Oh, that they couldn't buy us now McDonald's meals is like $12, but back then it was like $2.50 for 2 burgers and a ham, fries, and a drink.
Yeah.
So I just think they went about it all wrong. They were making millions and millions of dollars. People are donating millions and millions of dollars. They should have just gave all players in all sports 500, $1,000 a month, and you wouldn't have this mess now. Now you got the NIL, you got the transfer portals. It's just, I don't know. I just think it's not about the love of the school and the love of the sport anymore.
Do you think it's interesting? Do you think there's a group of coaches, and I'm not, I'm talking about across college football and basketball, who they look at a guy like you brought this up. They look at a guy who played somewhere else. Let's say somebody went to Eastern Illinois and they got 2,000, 3,000 yards passing, and the coach goes, well, I could use that guy. And then they slot him ahead of somebody who, as a freshman in a Big Ten school, just didn't get on the field because there were Big Ten players in front of him. It seems like there's a little bit of the shiny new toy syndrome, or maybe the grass is greener on the other side syndrome going on with, and again, I'm not accusing any coaches particular, but I see it across the country all the time.
They're all doing it. They're all doing the shiny new toy. He wasn't that good at freaking Eastern Illinois. So now he's going to be better against Penn State and Michigan and Ohio State? No. He might have a couple good games here and there, but he was trash over there. He's going to be trash over here.
Yeah.
But it's like now, that should be illegal. You have a good year at this school, and then another school offer you some money. That used to be put schools on probation. Yeah. Now is everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
So where's the coaching? Where's the coach that's going to develop all your good local high school kids? They're not. And you know what they're going to say every year when they lose? Oh, we're young. No, you get paid $10 million to win. Develop them kids and win, or get his butt out of there.
It's going to be a challenge. I think for the first time ever, I start to see people thinking like maybe coaching in the NFL and the NBA is the better way to go. And those are tough ways to earn your money, but I don't know that trying to keep track of all these players because they know they're going to be in the transfer portal has to be just daunting of a job.
How can you sustain anything?
Yeah.
Because say you got a kid, you already mentioned it, and he has a good year. Now you got to worry about how many schools are contacting this guy behind your back to take your kid.
Yeah.
It's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
And if the NCAA or the athletic directors don't see that something is wrong with this, they all need to lose their jobs because that's ridiculous. They have completely ruined college sports.
Yeah. And I wonder if the only way to get the genie back in the bottle is to do some sort of employee athletes as opposed to student athletes. And then you can do a contract which would say, okay, you can transfer one time and then you can't transfer anymore, or you
Yeah.
transfer one time and then the next time you transfer you got to sit out a year, something that puts some rules, because right now this is free agency like the NBA and the NFL, but with no rules at all, no salary cap, no
No, they need to make
rules.
they need to make a rule where you can transfer one time and that's it. If you choose your school for a scholarship, they should put me on the damn NCAA board.
Yeah. I tell you what, it
I
would
tell them some rules. You
yeah.
transfer one time. You pick. I fix all of that crap. You pick your school, and you get one time to transfer. You transfer there, you stuck, and if you try to transfer again, you lose all your eligibility. I don't care about injury. These cats are playing 60, 70 games, 28 years old in college. That's ridiculous. How you play 60 games in college?
Yeah, I know
The
there's a couple
season's 12 games.
there's a couple kids I think who are older than you and I, but they'll their
Right,
eligibility will be up in
right.
a few years.
Yeah, if you got a 12-game schedule, how you playing 67, 68 games?
Yeah.
That don't 12 times, what's 12 times 4?
Yeah,
It's
48
not
last time.
60.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time I
Yeah.
checked,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not
Yep.
60. These guys is playing is 6, 7 years eligibility. Whatever happened to you get 5 years to play for? Don't care what you do, how you do it. You get 5 years to play for.
Yeah. That's why
That's crazy.
I think the employee athlete and then finding some sort of collective bargaining agreement may be the only way to make it go back to the future a little bit, where it gets a little bit easier to manage. I had another question to ask you about because you're a West Coast guy. People realize that in the 1980s, your brother and yourself, there was a West Coast connection to Illinois football. How do you?
We had 18 guys from Southern California on the Rose Bowl team.
Yeah, and that's so cool. And so, how do you look at it as a guy who grew up out there, a West Coast guy? How do you look at UCLA and USC being Big Ten teams? Is that something that is? Do you look at that as like a positive? Do you look at it as a negative, or is it just it is what it is?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that. But that's another thing that messed up college football. Where's the rivalries gone? College football was great with rivalries. Texas versus Oklahoma, UCLA, USC, Stanford, Cal, Ohio State, Michigan. Some of the great Nebraska, Oklahoma. When the last time Nebraska played Oklahoma?
Yeah, yeah,
Nebraska shouldn't be in the Big. What is Nebraska doing in the Big Ten? Man, just greedy. It's just whatever happened to the love of sports, man. I just don't. I'm gonna take the fifth on that one because I talked about that on a radio show. My big brother heard it. He got mad.
Here's what I think. I think that as the Big Ten and SEC absorb more, I think what will happen is we will get back to regionalized college sports. I think in the long run. Now, not right now, they're in the middle zone. But if the Big Ten gets to 24 teams, I think then they can probably pick up, if ACC blows up, you pick up Stanford and Cal. Now you got 6 teams on the West Coast. They form a division. Then you do 6 teams in the middle: Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois,
Let, let me let
Northwestern.
me let me let, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you. What was wrong with the conferences before?
Yeah, this is because TV execs get in the room and they want to make more money,
That's
and so
because
they
it's
have
greedy.
ideas. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
because that's just greed,
Well, I
right?
don't.
Your Pac-10. How many highly ranked teams was under the Pac-10 this year? They just dismantled the whole conference. Oregon top team, Washington top team, USC had the best quarterback in the country, Utah,
Yeah,
Oregon State. That conference has they had 5 or 6 ranked teams top in the country. Now the conference is dismantled. What do we
yeah.
need Oregon and Washington in the Big Ten for?
So we can have a Western Division in a
It,
few years. That's all the
why
answer
didn't
I
they
got for you.
just why didn't they just equal out the money, all TV rights in all the big conferences, in the Power Five conferences? If they just even out the money to all the big schools, nobody would have moved anywhere. The Pac-10 schools joined the Big Ten because they would gotten another what, $20 million a year from TV revenue.
Yeah, at least that
Okay,
much. Yeah,
just give them that $20 million and everybody stay where they are.
yeah. I think the Big Ten
You
and
got
SEC.
you got people in you got bean counters in a room making athletic decisions for sports. You got bean counters talking about money instead of what's best for sports. Just even it out. Make it even across the board. Everybody will stay put. I remember when we were little, the Southwest Conference was unbelievable. What they had,
Oh yeah,
Texas, SMU, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. I mean,
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Right. Now you need how are girls or guys gonna, how is school important? If a track team has to leave Oregon to go run against Illinois, how you gonna get all them kids to Illinois and back in 2 days for classes? You can't. How you gonna get the volleyball team or the badminton team or with the soccer team? They're gonna have to move. They're gonna have to go across country and play a school, and then go play another school. They're gonna have to go play Indiana and Illinois and Purdue on one trip before they go back home. Who can afford that?
Yeah, no,
How are parents?
yeah,
Now I'm a parent. If my kids get a scholarship somewhere, how's a parent gonna go fly from California to Purdue, come back to Washington, go to Ohio State, come back to California, go to Rutgers? Like, who can afford that?
yeah. That's where
You
I
got
guess
bean counters in a room making athletic decisions that shouldn't be made.
now I'm gonna really
Or that's, go ahead.
I'm gonna really poke the bear. So we hear these rumors that the big schools like Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, that they want to get a super conference going where just the best of the best form like a 18 team elite of all the elites. Leave the rest of college sports behind, particularly in football. What do you think of that idea? Because I think, for example, an Ohio State fan has had 5 losing seasons since 1951. In a super conference, somebody's got to lose. I don't think a lot of these fan bases have any idea what it's like to go 5 years with a bad team, let alone the fact that you could be spiraled and get down to the bottom and have to really deal with rough things. I think the super conference is crazy stupid, but I don't know what you think.
Didn't Oklahoma and Texas just move into the SEC?
Yeah, they did.
They're gonna learn about losing real quick.
I think Oklahoma's in some trouble here.
They're gonna lose real quick because that no defense that they play in Oklahoma is not gonna fly. Because the schools in the SEC can put up numbers, but they can play defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's back to why you had all the super conferences and you take the best teams and you put them in the best bowl games and then you go. That's who the champions are. Now, hell, now it's going to be how many teams going to be in the playoffs next year?
12, I think, to start with.
So you think four other teams are not going to be pissed that they're not in the championship, that they're not in the playoff game series?
It's going to 16 fast. You know that.
Okay, yeah. So when you get to 16 fast, then it's going to be 20 teams going, hey, we should have been in there too. We beat them and them. It's never going to end. They should have kept it at 4.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I got to be honest with you, David. I'm really excited though. I like the 12 system because to me, and being a football-aholic, that just means that now in December on Saturdays, I'm going to have some great football to watch. And then I'll tell my wife, I'm like, I cover Big Ten sports and Illini sports. I have to do this. I'm working as I sit all Saturday afternoon and watch these playoff games.
Okay, I'm going to poke the bear too. So now how many games is it the 2 last teams going to play by the time it's over?
Yeah, they're going to play as many as the NFL team. They're going to be up like 16 or 17 games.
So they're going to play 16, 17 games. These guys make $30 million. These guys make nothing.
It could be that way.
But it's more money to the schools and more money for the TV people.
Yes.
But the kids get screwed again.
And that's where I think the collective bargaining has got to come in, where kids will get some money.
Yeah, but what about, okay, you're a pro. You play that many games, you get paid for it. Now you can invest that money. You can live off that money the rest of your life. So a kid in college plays 17 games. He's going to get what? $1,000? A couple grand? Can't save money for retirement? I
would guess the NIL component of this will allow now every player, you're exactly correct. I'm assuming a player of your stature, All-Americans, they'll be making some good money. By the time they're out of college, they may have $1 million sitting around, or a half.
Some of them, yeah. But what about the rest? It's a team game.
Yeah. Those guys, they're going to get a degree.
I couldn't have been an All-American without Jack Trudeau.
I agree.
Couldn't have been an All-American without the linemen blocking, or the key to any team are your lines. So even if I make $5 million, or one of the quarterback from Tennessee, from California, went out there and made $8 million, and he was the backup.
That's now. Could you reach out to Jerry Jones and explain to him, because he's forgotten that the lines are really important, so that my Cowboys can finally win a dang Super Bowl again?
If I could talk to Jerry Jones, I'd ask him what on God's green earth made him give Dak Prescott $40 million.
He's going to give him 60 pretty quick here.
Why? He's never going to win a Super Bowl. So is your whole goal is to win a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. You know what I've come to this conclusion of, David? I've come to the conclusion, 2 things if I was running an NFL team, and I'd probably fail miserably, but what I would do is my first round draft pick every year would be a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman. And then if I saw a quarterback, let's say like I decided Caleb Williams was good enough that I would build my team around him, I would literally have called up the Bears if I thought he was that good. And of course, there's no guarantees, but I would have called up the Bears and I'd said, hey, you guys can have our whole draft this year. I'd pull a Mike Ditka, that he did for Ricky Williams.
Yep.
I'd be like, you can have my whole draft. I just want the first pick. And I would take because I think if you get a quarterback and you're drafting the other years that you don't do this stuff, you're drafting offensive and defensive linemen, I think you can win in the league. That's how I would draft.
I would draft differently too. But I got a question for you. Say Caleb Williams. I want Caleb Williams. Okay. The Bears just drafted Caleb Williams. Fine. The idiot who was coaching Justin Fields is still there.
Yeah.
So Justin Fields could play. Justin Fields was really good. He was just as good as Caleb Williams. So now you get rid of Justin Fields because he kept having different offensive coordinators and he couldn't get the rhythm and they couldn't get it together because coaching. Okay, cool. We're going to trade Justin Fields. Now we're going to keep the same coach and we're going to draft Caleb Williams. So now the same shitty coach is there for Caleb Williams. And then when Caleb Williams don't play well, you gonna blame it on Caleb Williams or you gonna blame it on the coach?
Usually,
If you go, they should have got rid of the coach instead of Justin Fields. First of all, then you could have traded that number one pick, and you could have got you a bunch of good people like that Dicker, like you said, and built your team like that. And said, okay, we got a few good receivers. We got Justin Fields. We're gonna give him a good coach. We're gonna have the same offense. You say, look, Bear coach, I want the same offensive coordinator with him for 4 years. If you got to get a new offensive coordinator every year, then you're not the right person. So pick your guy, stick with him, and develop this young man. No, he got 3 different offensive coordinators. Man, we could talk football all day.
Yeah. Yeah. This will be an interesting one to see where it's at. I guess I will say what I love about Caleb is you can take a 1 foot by 1 foot box and he can hit it so that a guy can, he hits him right in the hands. So, yeah, it'll be fun to see.
He can play. But remember, Justin Fields could play too.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm just saying that
I bet you it's more bad coaches than it are bad quarterbacks.
That I'm not going to argue with.
You get these guys that be on the staff, and next thing you know, they the new hot prospect. He didn't call no shots on that staff. He just had a title. You think in Kansas City, anybody's really calling plays other than Andy Reid?
Yeah.
Not a chance. You think anybody really called plays for Bill Walsh? Not a chance. Holmgren, the great play callers. You think anybody really called plays? No, they just had titles. And now, he's a young guy. He's 34 years old. He's a head coaching guy. He didn't call the guy at Green Bay. I met that guy at a party years ago. And Dave started talking about football. And I asked him a few questions, and he said, I didn't know. It was how you beat a cover 2 with a linebacker blitz off the right side. He had no idea. I looked at my buddy and said, that dude is the offensive coordinator of Rams. The next year, he got the offensive coordinator job for the Tennessee Titans. What do the Tennessee Titans do best?
Run football.
They run the ball. So now he got Derrick Henry. They running the ball. Nice offense. If you're a good passing coach, how coaches beat other coaches, I know I'm on a tangent, but how coaches beat other coaches are coaches do the same thing year after year after year, and coaches coach against their style. Well, you're a good coach running a passing offense, then you go to another team and you just run heavy. You're not calling plays on either team. Now he get a head coaching job in Green Bay, and he looks like a world beater, but he got Aaron Rodgers. So players make good coaches.
Yeah,
players make good coaches. So you got good players, and they can formulate what you do. Now, the Packers should have won a championship when Aaron Rodgers was on that team. He threw a ball instead of running in on 4th down on the goal line. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
somebody else won the Super Bowl. Yeah, but
I would tell you this. I do think there's a synergistic relationship because for every great coach, there's always that great player. Whether you go Lombardi and Starr, or you go Bradshaw and Knoll, or it doesn't matter where you go, you've got those great players that are synonymous. Tom Landry,
right,
Roger Staubach. So I do think you have to have both of them.
Yes.
So we've went right around a lot of things, and I've taken a lot of your time here this afternoon. Really appreciate it. But let's go back. The golf tournament for the David Williams Foundation is on June 8th, and you can sign up at davidwilliamsfoundation.org.
Yes. And a team, just come out and support the kids. Come out to support the guys. We'll have an autograph session, but all during the day, you could take pictures and get autographs of everybody. Everybody's going to be out there just to have fun. It's not expensive. Some of these other golf tournaments are $250, $350. Ours is $150. We just going to feed you. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be for a good cause. There's going to be some awesome people there. And Midland, I'm going to give a shout out to Midland Bank. They have been our title sponsor for all 3 years. They're a great organization, and we really appreciate them sticking with us and helping us grow.
That is perfect. And yeah, and Rhinos Collectibles out in Mahomet. There's a lot of organizations that have contributed to this and worked hard to help these kids. And the last step in the chain, so to speak, to get everything working is for anybody who wants to play a round of golf and meet some Illini/college sports legends. This is the place to be, June 8th. And we'd like you to get out there and sign up just as soon as we can. Thanks so much, sir, for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Excellent.